What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Zamboni. I am a musician and astrologer, and it is time to talk about the astrology of the week ahead. As always, I thank you so very much for being here. Thank you for sending this to a friend. Thank you for watching this video all the way to the end. Thank you for supporting in myriad ways. Did you know that you can get a 10-minute video reading like this for your chart specifically? I will read your chart and talk about Venus retrograde or whatever else you feel like talking about. That is available at zambonifunk.com/store. Also in that place you can find really amazing artwork. There's some really nice wall hangings and I should have worn one of the sweatshirts or t-shirts or one of these things. There's mugs, tote bags, a bunch of cool shit with a really amazing artwork. So check that out. If you want to support easily, you can check out the music on Spotify, Tidal, Pandora, Apple Music, wherever you get your music at. It is free to stream the music there. You can also send a tip via Venmo, Cash App, PayPal. Thank you so much for doing that. Let's talk about the astrology of the week ahead. So this week we have big Leo stuff going on. Today is the first day that, and it's nice that it's a Sunday. Today is the first day that the sun rose in Leo, which is the sun's domicile. So the sun is at home and able to do the sun things sunnily in Leo. So when we think about the sun, we tend to think about like faces, especially famous faces, or the imperial face. So we can think about like heads of state or this kind of thing. Also celebrities or any type of people who spend a bunch of time on camera under the bright lights, this kind of thing. That is going to be indicated. The star of the show in whatever way it is, you know. So like maybe those are going to be like musicians or even like the author who wrote a book and is now giving a talk on it or something like this, right? Like the star of the show, whatever that looks like, the talent. That is what the sun is. And so the sun is at home in Leo and very able to do the sun things from that place, able to shine its light very vibrantly. We can think about like health and vitality as being a thing here. There's a kind of warmth and exuberance that can come from this kind of placement. I am very excited to see the sun here in Leo. The sun is the one who is comfortable, basically. And so there's everybody else in the sky is feeling whack about stuff. So it's cool to see the sun just holding it down. The sun is the center of gravity, right? And so even while everyone else is kind of wilding a little bit, I think that having the sun there in that kind of like, so one of the things about the sun is like it comes up in the east and makes the daytime and then goes down in the west and that makes the nighttime and then it's dark for a little while and then it comes back up in the east again, and that's what it does. It's the same all the time. It moves about a degree a day. It's very constant, it's very consistent. And so that kind of stability, that we can remember that Leo's a fixed sign, right? That kind of stability I think can be helpful in an era of wild and crazy chaos and this kind of thing, right? So I think that the sun in Leo looks pretty good here and is able to kind of regulate everyone else a little bit in like sort of like Picatrix style thought. Then the sun is the king and everyone else, all the other planets are the vassals. They need the sun does not need them, right? And so there's a kind of power with the sun here in Leo that I think is really going to be a good look, especially since we've also got Venus stationed retrograde. That station happened yesterday. So Venus is now retrograde there in Leo, right? And so a Venus retrograde, Venus is the planet of like pleasure and sweetness and harmony and like relationships kind of generally. Maybe that's your romantic relationship, maybe that's your relationship with your mom, maybe that's your relationship with your co-workers or anywhere you're looking for consensus or agreement or that kind of thing. That's the domain of Venus, right? As well as arts and beauty and this kind of thing. So in that space, in that Venus domain, we're looking at backward motion. We're looking at things not happening properly. We're looking at stuff like not working the way that you wanted it to. So now you got to go back and be like, well, maybe I can rework this. Whenever there's a retrograde, then I often think about like the re-words showing up in some kind of way. So re-evaluation. Venus often has to do with value and things that are valuable in some kind of way, maybe because they're pretty or maybe because the other people like them, or, you know, so so the exchange of money and goods and this kind of thing can be associated with Venus sometimes. Less exchange and more having value in whatever kind of way. So that is so re-evaluation, right? Or reinvention. I've been recommending a lot in readings lately. I've been recommending that people reinvent their approach in some kind of way. In Leo, if we're thinking about Leo and the kind of like image, the face or something like this, maybe it's time for a rebrand. Maybe it's time to reimagine the way that you present your stuff, whatever it is. We can also look at the area of your chart where Leo happens to fall and see and get some ideas about some areas of your life that might be good for a rebrand or a reinvention of some sort. If you're interested in that, did you know that you can get a 10-minute anyway? So with that Venus retrograde, it looks like the Venus things are grumpy right now. And this week, Mercury is moving up and is going to conjoin that Venus retrograde in Leo. Now, I've been feeling like Venus retrograde has been pretty loud already in the sense of it being like deeply felt on a widespread basis. I've heard about a lot of breakups. I've heard so many people dreaming about their exes and this kind of thing, right? So it's already been kind of loud in this deeply felt sense. With Mercury moving in, let's remember that Mercury is the megaphone, the microphone. Mercury is the one that is the communicator, the translator, the one who takes the journalist, the one who takes the story and broadcasts it to the public and this kind of thing, right? Transmission is going to be a good Mercury word there. So with Mercury coming in to conjoin that Venus retrograde, it looks like Venus retrograde is probably going to be in the news in some kind of way. Maybe there's going to be some kind of scandal, some kind of Leo, right? Sun is in Leo. Some kind of famous face gets involved in some kind of wild scandal that takes the news cycle by storm or something like this, right? That is a total possibility. Also, maybe just so if you're having trouble Venus getting into consensus or agreement with other people, then maybe this is a moment to communicate about that, right? Maybe this is a moment to be like, this isn't working. I need it to work better than this is happening. We can also remember that Mars in Virgo is opposite to Saturn. Now that direct opposition or the exact opposition happened last week already. So that is waning in its influence now. But Mercury, after conjoining Venus, is going to move into Virgo and then oppose that Saturn as well. So typically, we like Mercury in Virgo. Mercury is at home and comfortable in Virgo, is even exalted in that position. Mercury looks really good at doing the Mercury things in Virgo. Mercury's job is to sort of analyze and intellectualize things, make things intelligible, understandable, comprehensible, this kind of thing, right? And so Virgo will take big things and break them down into smaller pieces, categorize them, and make them intelligible by that way, right? And so Mercury typically does well in Virgo. However, this time Mercury is running toward a retrograde there it's going to be at the end of Virgo. So we got to get there first. But so before we get to that Mercury retrograde, Mercury is going to be slowing down, opposing Saturn in Pisces. That looks really slow and delayed and muddled. It looks like maybe like foot in mouth or something like this. If we think about Pisces being associated with the feet, and then Mercury being the transmission, the orator, right? So that looks like a foot in mouth in some kind of way, saying something and then being like, maybe I shouldn't have said that, or maybe I simply cannot because there's a fucking foot in my mouth or something like this. Then Mercury is going to be moving up, trying to conjoin Mars. So Mercury is looking hella malefic once we get into Virgo. It looks like a deeply uncomfortable situation. Then Mercury is going to eventually station retrograde, and so there's this whole that's a whole vibe there, right? And so it looks like the grind continues to take place here. This like opposition to Saturn, this Mars situation, that continues to go on, even though Mars has technically left the degree-based aspect with Saturn. So there's a lot going on here and a lot to talk about. Thank you so much for being here. I'm about out of time, but don't forget to get a reading. Don't forget to support by Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, or whatever it is. Listen to the music. Please listen to the music. See y'all.